Hello, welcome back to Piers Rocks. Today, well, you've seen the video title, you know I've lost my mind. This looks like a completely stock 1541 disk drive. In fact, this is the first disk drive that I repaired in the first video on this channel, but it's a stock disk drive no longer. Today, I'm going to show you accessing this disk drive using my PC via Wi-Fi. You can see I've got my Wi-Fi 1541 sitting next to me, just to prove to you that there are no serial cables plugged into it. Both of those are completely empty, just the power cable is plugged in on this disk drive. I'm going to connect to it using my CLI, and I need to tell it to connect to a remote disk drive rather than one that's connected locally via an XUM 1541. I need to tell it the address of the disk drive, which is Wi-Fi 1541, and I need to tell it the port, which is, well, it's got to be port 1541, right? That's now connected to the disk drive. Let's try and identify this disk drive. A little bit slow, but it gets there in the end. Identifies it as a CBM 1541, which indeed it is. Let's query the disk drive status. Status is okay. Let's try reading a disk. So we're doing a directory listing of the disk now. And there we go. It's loaded the list of file names from this disk. Of course, I'm not just restricted to using a CLI to access this disk drive. I can mount it as a native Linux file system wirelessly. To do that, I need to run my file system daemon, put it in network mode so it knows it needs to connect to the disk drive remotely, and give it the address of the disk drive. That's now spawned and running in the background. I have created a mount point at /tmp/mnt. So now I run the mounter to mount this disk drive, which is configured as the stock device 8 at temp mount. We should hear it accessing the disk drive shortly. There we go. So it's just checking there's a valid disk drive there. The mount has succeeded, and I should be able to list the disks on the disk drive now with the standard ls command. There we go. We get to see the same set of files that were on this disk as we saw when we were using the CLI. I can also cat the contents of a file. This will now load it in wirelessly from the disk and output it to the screen. Now, it's not just the disk drive that's been Wi-Fi enabled with this approach, it's also the entire bus connected to this disk drive. So if I connect another disk drive, like this one here, into this first disk drive, then I should be able to access both of them wirelessly. This is configured as device 9, but it's not got any native Wi-Fi support. It's just plugged into this first disk drive. I should be able to mount it on a separate mount point. You want to mount device 9, and I've set the mount point to be /tmp device 9. You should hear this disk drive being accessed in a sec. There we go. Again, it's checking that the disk drive is working, and we should be able to list the contents of this disk as well. There we go. That's the contents of the 1541 test disk that's in this disk drive. Compare that to the first disk drive. There we go. So in terms of what's going on behind the covers here, there's two bits of hardware inside this 1541 that don't belong here. First of all, here I've got an XUM 1541, and here I've got a Raspberry Pi Zero W, one of the original Raspberry Pi Zero Ws, not a Raspberry Pi Zero 2. So the XUM 1541 looks like this board here, except these components here are populated. I've not populated the serial port on the board I've installed in here. I've just soldered these pads directly using these multicolored wires to the underside of one of the IEC ports. That's what gives us access to the entire bus. So any drive plugs into here can also be accessed via Wi-Fi. And then obviously a totally standard Raspberry Pi Zero without the header pins, so it actually fits in running standard Raspberry Pi OS and running my XUM1541 Rust project to allow remote access to the XUM1541 hardware. In terms of software implementation, what I've done is I've exposed the device object from my XUM1541 crate directly over the network. This is a very low level object, so it actually provides low level primitives for reading and writing bytes to and from the XUM1541 device itself. That means there's an awful lot of backwards and forwards between whatever device you're trying to access the disk drive on and the disk drive itself. And then to give you a sense of how this software implementation actually works, I'll demonstrate to you the operations that 1541 filesystem is actually undertaking. So I'm going to rerun it in debug mode in the foreground so you can see the logs, and it is connected to the XUM1541 at this point. So I'm going to run the mount command in a separate window, and we should see all of the activity on the screen in front of us from 1541 FSD. So we can see it's instructing the drive to listen, sending data, instructing it to unlisten, and then it's instructing it to talk, and then we're reading a byte of data, and then untalk, and then talk, and then read a byte of data and untalk. And this is because of the particular location in the software stack. I've decided to break apart the software and run a very low layer on the disk drive and all of the upper layers on the other PC. Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. I don't know how much utility this has, but I enjoyed working on it and think it's pretty cool. If I was taking this forward, there's a couple of things that I would do differently. The first is I would put a lot more software to run in the disk drive than on the remote device, so that all of that backwards and forwards between the remote device and the disk drive can be handled locally. It would be much faster and much more efficient. The second thing I'd do is I'd combine the hardware functionality of the XUM1541 and the Raspberry Pi, which is essentially acting as the processor, together into one device, probably either an ESP32 or an RP2040 Wi-Fi based device, and that would be much smaller, much more efficient implementation. The other thing that you might be thinking is, isn't this related to the Meatloaf? For those of you who don't know what a Meatloaf is, it's a Wi-Fi device that you can plug into the back of your Commodore 64, and it emulates a 1541 disk drive and allows you to access files over the internet directly from your Commodore 64. This is kind of the opposite approach. This allows you to access your 1541 disk drive, retain your physical hardware, but access that over the internet. Now, this particular solution doesn't allow you to access your 1541 wirelessly from your Commodore 64, so there could be a hybrid solution where you had a Meatloaf plugged into the back of your Commodore 64, and that then contacted over Wi-Fi your Wi-Fi 1541. That seems even more bonkers and even more pointless to me than what I've done here. Anyway, if you enjoyed that video, I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel, and until next time, rock on.